One of my subscribers asked me to make a video about people pleasing, and I immediately thought it was an amazing idea because I love talking about people pleasing. If you're new here, my name is Romani. I actually made a similar video to this a few months ago, and it was titled like why you shouldn't seek validation, which is similar to what I'm going to talk about today. But today I really want to hone in on people pleasing, specifically when it comes to friendships, because I know that we people please when it comes to family members and just different relationships, but I feel like people pleasing in friendships is such a huge thing, and it's such a trending topic today to talk about like low maintenance friendships or high maintenance friendships and how we show up in friendships. So I want to talk about people pleasing in friendship. I feel like there's nobody better than me to talk about this topic because I was a people pleaser for a majority of my life. Like right now I'm 24, next week I'll be 25, and I just started working on not people pleasing in friendships. And when I say just started working on, I mean maybe for the past 2 to 3 years I've really been practicing boundaries. But prior to that, I really didn't have many boundaries. You know, I thought that I did, but I didn't really have many boundaries when it came to friendship. And as I think about it, this really started as a child. Like sometimes I talk about how as a child, we're taught to be people pleasers because we're taught to seek validation. But even further than that, I think that me being my mom's only child definitely made me be a people pleaser. So just to give you a little context, for all of the year, except for the summer, I was an only child. In the summer, my sister would come and, you know, we would play and stuff like that. But for the majority of the year, I was an only child. And I didn't realize it at the time, but me not having a sibling really made me look for relationships. You know, like it really made me look for like companionship and friendship with other girls. So I feel like I really tried hard to fit in for most of my life. And that's not saying like I was doing crazy things, but a lot of times I just went against who I was. So like I would follow the crowd. If they didn't like something, maybe I didn't like it. And I'm not talking about now, I'm really talking about elementary school and like middle school. You know, if they didn't like somebody, maybe I wouldn't talk to them. Like I really tried hard to find my people, and I went against myself in that process. And a lot of us definitely do this. It's like we want to fit in with the crowd, and so we start doing what everybody else is doing because we don't want that pushback. We don't want them to dislike us. And I know a lot of people won't admit it. Like a lot of people just think like, oh, I'm a selfless person. I hear that a lot. I'm a selfless person. A lot of people aren't selfless. They just want community and they don't want people to be mad at them. So they kind of like go with the flow and they try not to have too much conflict in their relationships. And honestly, that's really manipulative because you're not being your authentic self. So you're being somebody else so that you can be accepted. People are not even getting to know the real you. And when I say it's manipulative, I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that you are being something other than who you truly are in order for acceptance, in order for people not to be mad at you. And I constantly say like people not being mad at you because a lot of people are afraid of people being upset with them. Like now that I have all of these boundaries, and anybody in my personal life will tell you I have boundaries, baby. But now that I have these boundaries, when I do talk to my friends and they want advice, they may say something like, you know, I don't want to go here, but my friend wants to do this. And when I say, okay, just don't go, even though your friend wants to go, it's like, oh, well, I don't want them to be mad at me. Why do we care who is mad at us and who isn't mad at us? I feel like that was something that I experienced a lot growing up. Like I didn't want my friends to be mad at me. You know, I wanted everybody to like me. And that's like this false sense of like that we're feeding kids. Like we're telling people like, oh, you know, people are going to like you. Everybody's not going to like you. So I feel like we grew up thinking people are supposed to like you. Like you're supposed to be a good person. People are supposed to like you. You can be the best person in the world and somebody still won't like you. So you're doing all of these things to be liked. You're not being your true self. Do you even like yourself? Stop worrying about whether other people like you and worry about if you even like you, because a lot of people don't even like themselves. They constantly give and give and give to others because they're trying to distract themselves from how they really feel about themselves. Once you begin to pour into yourself, then you're going to start having boundaries. You're not going to just be doing everything that somebody wants you to do, because you know that, yes, I value that relationship, but I also value myself. So in order to like stop people pleasing, you have to start pleasing yourself. You really have to start pouring into yourself. And that looks like spending time with yourself. Maybe you journal. Maybe you have a self-care night. Maybe you meditate. Maybe you take yourself to the park. Maybe you take yourself on a solo date, but you start spending time with yourself. You start getting to know yourself. What are my triggers? You start asking yourself the hard questions. Why do I feel like I need to people please? And a lot of us never really sit down with ourselves and ask ourselves the hard questions. So we don't really have an answer to these things. And we think, oh, that's just the way that I am. That's just the way that I grew up. Really pause this video right now and ask yourself, why do I continue to people please? Because 9 times out of 10, you're people pleasing because you want people to like you and you don't want people to be mad at you. And so then you need to ask yourself, why do I care when people don't like me? And I know that that's a tough pill to swallow. Like, I remember a few instances in life when girls didn't like me and I'll be like, but I'm nice, but I'm doing this. It doesn't matter, and it's okay. Like, when you honestly realize that it is okay and some people won't like you and life will continue to move on, the earth is going to continue to, revolve, you'll be okay. You're not going to die because somebody doesn't like you. Now, that doesn't mean that they get to disrespect you or anything like that, but you're not going to be somebody's cup of tea. I don't like certain people either. That doesn't mean that I'm like disrespectful to them. I just stay away from them, and the world continues to go round. And then if you're truly afraid of not speaking your truth because you're afraid that somebody's not going to like you or they're not going to be your friend anymore, you have to start reevaluating your friendships. Because why does me saying no to you provoke a negative response? Because I've had people in my life like that too, where I was just so afraid to say no to them. And I'm not talking about like authority figures. I'm talking about friends, like my peers. I would be afraid to say like, no, I can't go. No, I don't want to do that. But if you feel like your friend is not going to be your friend anymore because you say no to them, that is not a person that you need to be around anyway. And that's truly why I love the friendships that I have right now, because my friends are grown. And when I say grown, I don't just mean by age. I mean by like maturity level. They understand that sometimes I don't want to go out. Sometimes I don't want to talk on the phone. Sometimes I'm not going to text you back. Sometimes I'm going to say no to you if you want me to do something. And it's okay, and we're still going to be friends after that. If your friend can't understand that sometimes you're going to say no and that sometimes the world is not going to revolve around them, that's not a person that you should be around. And I'm not saying that you just have to go and cut your friends off. Like, of course, evaluate your situation. I'm talking in general, but like, you have to really evaluate where you stand with people. But if you are extremely afraid or anxious to say no to someone, it indicates that they've previously given you a negative response before. Or it may not even be them. It may just be some trauma that you have from, past experiences when you said no to somebody else. So you really have to figure out the root of this people pleasing. And that's why I said, like, really start journaling and asking yourself, when was the first time that I started people pleasing? Because then you'll be like, dang, like I first started people pleasing in 4th grade when my friend asked me to do something. I said no, and she was upset with me. And then you'll see how you've carried that pattern throughout your entire life. And I always want you to remember that you should never go against yourself. Your body's going to tell you how you feel about certain things. So whether you say yes or no in your head, your body's going to let you know by your heart racing, your palms getting sweaty. Like, your body's going to let you know whether it's a yes or a no. So if you say yes to somebody, but your body is telling you no, you need to reverse that decision. And never be afraid to like go back on your decision. Because like, I know a lot of people be like, oh, like I already said yes, but I don't feel like doing it. You can always go back on it. And I'm definitely not saying to always like go back on your word. Like, you should definitely be a woman or a man of your word. But if you really do not want to do something and like you feel like you're going to be resentful if you do it, then don't do it, and tell the person, hey, when I agreed to do this, I was in a different state of mind, but now I cannot commit to this because I literally just had to do that with a person who I told them that I was able to do something, and then a few months later they like wanted to check back in, and I was like, hey, I actually have a lot on my plate. I cannot commit to this right now. And of course they were upset, but that has nothing to do with me. I've already told you that my plate is full, and I'm not going to stress myself out just because I previously told you yes. Your first priority is yourself. Like, I know that, you know, some people may have kids and stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, you know, in your friendships, your first priority is yourself, and then your friends come after you. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And I know you've probably heard that before, but like, you can't give all of this positive, good energy if you're drained. So if you don't want to do something, don't do it, because then you become resentful. And a lot of people may not want to think about this as like resentment, because I know that we think of resentment as like such a big thing, but like, you become slightly resentful when you do something that you don't want to do. Or you become passive aggressive. And one thing that I cannot stand is a passive aggressive person. If you don't want to do something, don't do it, because then your body language starts telling on you. Like, you start, you know, slouching, your face might be upset. You become passive aggressive instead of just saying prior to that, I don't want to do this. The answer is no. So overall, no matter how someone responds, you have to do what is best for you. Stop letting other people's responses control how you move in this world. You do what you want to do. And when you truly realize that, like, you set the tone for your life and you create the rules for your life, you're going to feel a weight off of your shoulders, because when you play by the rules of everybody else, you feel weighed down. As soon as you like remove yourself from all of that, you're going to feel free and you're going to do you. You deserve the best of the best when it comes to friendship. So be a good friend, but also be truthful. Do not be manipulative and become somebody that you are not just to be accepted, because if this person is your real friend, they're going to want to be friends with the real you, not this person, this facade that you're showing them. And lastly, when you stop people pleasing, people respect you more. People kind of know who they can and cannot play with. The people who walk into the room with their head held high, with their chest forward, and they have boundaries and they're letting you know what they will do and what they're not, people are always going to respect them more than the person's like, sure, I'll do it. No, like, we demand respect. And to demand respect, you have to come in knowing who you are. You can't conform to your friends' standards or society standards of what they want for you and what they want you to do. You also don't want to be kind of like known as the people pleaser, because then people start to take advantage of you. And I'm not saying that your friends are going to take advantage of you, but people get a little comfortable when you begin to do everything that they want you to do. They kind of see you like in that role of doing everything that they want you to do. If you constantly put yourself in the role of being a people pleaser and saying yes to somebody and being a yes man, that's all they're going to see you as, and they're going to start treating you how they see you. But you also have to demand respect, and that respect comes when you speak up for yourself, when you say no to the things that you want to say no on, and you say yes to the things that you want to say yes on. And also, don't teeter-totter, yeah, maybe. It's either a yes or it's a no. Like, I've learned that if I'm going back and forth in my head too much, like, oh, do I want to go? Do I not want to go? Do I want to do this? I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it if it's not a yes. If it's not a yes, then it's a no. And that helps people respect my boundaries, because I'm secure in what I'm saying. Like, I'm standing on my decisions. Thank you so much. If you got this far in the video, please let me know in the comments your experience with people pleasing and how you're going to change it going forward. I'm going to leave my socials in the description box so we can connect with each other. And I'm also a personal trainer and a yoga instructor, so I will leave my Instagram and my website and everything below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot, and I will see you in my next video.